Hey, welcome back to the Los Alamitos Weekend preview here, losalamitos.com, youtube.com, Los Alamitos, and all your social channels where you can catch us here. I'm your host, Jose Contreras, joined by your Los Alamitos track analyst each and every night, Christopher Wade. Christopher, welcome back to the program on this weekend of racing, and it's California Breeders' Champions Weekend, so we will be celebrating the Cal-breds this week at Los Al.
Yeah, great weekend of racing. Saturday night we got a total of 9 quarter horse events and some quality fields and some very, very closely matched affairs.
Yep, and leading into some very good weekend of racing, we'll split the Cal-bred stakes between both nights, both Saturday and Sunday night. So we'll be talking about Saturday night in this program, like you mentioned, 10 races. And while Del Mar's running, expect a little bit later post times the rest of the summer as we follow the action at Del Mar. I know last week we had approximate post times around 7:20, 7:30. We'll probably continue that trend towards the rest of the summer as we move along at Los Al. So like you mentioned, 9 quarter horse races in a 10 race program, and you're going to take us to race number 5. Race number 5 here. We got quarter horses going with a distance of 300 yards, and I'll bring up the PPs here for this event, and it's going to be a pretty good way to kind of get involved in the pick 6. This starts the pick 6 sequence. We got a field of 6 runners, 300 yards. First time gelding on Good Ass Candy from the rail, Chris, but I know you thought there was a very good workout by the 6, our Ain't She Famous, before her debut, and that 5th place finish I thought was okay given where she was drawn.
Yeah, this horse did show a good workout pattern prior to the debut for Clemente Hurtado. This horse had a B- and B+ workout in those 2 drills prior to the debut 20 nights ago. But the horse got a little fractious inside the gate, kind of broke slow and drifted out away from the barrier and brushed the side of the gate and continued to get a little rank and drifted out early, was slow on the strides. He's a nice sized individual. But this horse got leveled out midway and was finishing very, very well. To me, a much better look 5th place finish and galloped out very, very well. And if they improve it like they normally do, second start of their career, and if this horse runs those workouts as we expect she should, is steadily improving that second lifetime start. What's the big look here as one of our selections there in that 5th event, kick up that pick 6 there on Saturday night.
Here's the debut replay back on July 9th. It was still daylight as we were running here with plenty of daylight still left. She had the outside post, Chris, and she was a little bit cold at 9-1 of the board, but there was some well-meant runners in that spot that got bet down. And like you mentioned, she had worked 12:30 before this debut, and she was the outside post here. What did you see this evening?
Yeah, she broke slow and got a little fractious, broke slow and drifted out away from the gate, brushed the side of the barrier, lost a couple length and 3/4 or slow and kind of steadily drifted out right there and a little rank midway, and watch her kind of ski and kind of drift in and out as many first-time starters do in their debut. This horse leveled out nicely right about here and starting out very, very strong. Look at the level, and she's catching up very strongly to be very close to 5th and galloped out very, very well. It's a nice-sized individual, and this horse will definitely move forward. Second starter of career, and if she can break and run straight on my numbers, she got a big look at the outcome there in that 5th event, kicking off that pick 6 there in tonight's 5th event on Saturday night.
Based on how she kind of surged midway and finished with energy, you could probably argue, Chris, that she might have been 3rd or maybe even 2nd with a clean trip, but better break that day.
Very well could have been. She was well meant that night, and like they always improve second start of this horse's career. And like I said, worked nicely prior to the debut. So the ability is there, and she's had a needed race over the surface to get her feet wet, and they usually always improved second start of this one's career. It could run a little bit more professionally. Has a look at the outcome in that 5th event.
Are we in agreement that the inside 2 runners are the horses to beat here? With coming, especially the rail horse coming out of Futurity trial.
Yeah, Good as Candy, definitely the one to worry the most about on my numbers. And of course, Sending a Favor has a look at the outcome off that last affair too as well. Twice over, a little bit of look at the outcomes as well. But Favorite Jet Armrel did work nicely part of that last effort. There's some ability there, just needs a clean getaway. But it's a closely matched affair on the numbers, but we're going to give RC Ain't She Famous a look at the outcome in that 5th event.
Good race to kick off the pick 6. So our pick 6, by the way, last week and on Sunday, the pick 6 came back just north of $5,000 for a very havable sequence. So of course, Chris, I went 5 out of 6. Because I got out in the first leg, that thoroughbred race. Remember that Sergio Morfin runner that won by like 7 lengths, improved about a 1.5 seconds going 1,000 yards?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the running that I missed. So I missed I want to say 8-5 more night favorite, and that was it. That was it for me as I went all in on the outside runner. Ran flat, but that was an impressive winner for Sergio Morfin last Sunday to kick off the Pick Six. And from what I hear, they might try that horse down at Del Mar.
Yeah, where the horse won, was starting out very strongly, was very impressive, earned a very, very solid figure on my numbers in that last affair. And definitely let's look at the outcome. Our horses are always overlooked. You always get nice prices across town at Santa Anita and at Del Mar, and they do very, very well. So I'd give the horse a look on the ship down.
Yeah, make tab of that. The name is escaping me right now, but check out the results from last Sunday. That first leg of the Big Six, that Sergio Morfin training. You might see him at Del Mar and might catch a good price on that runner. All right. So you got RCHE Famous race number 5. Thank you for that selection. And also including for the simulcast signal, are you tackling any other analysis for the nightlines?
Yeah, Fair Meadows concluded their season last Sunday, so we're down to right now. We're doing Retama Park. We're handling races. I think it's 5 through 10 at Retama Park, and races 3 through 9 at Delta Downs.
All right, so Delta and Retama, Chris will be handling those duties for the nightlines. You can get all his analysis with top 3 picks. Also, you can catch it at losalamitos.com as well. All right, Chris, best of luck with Archie Famous on Saturday night. Should be a good weekend there with the California Breeders' Champions Weekend at Los Al.
It's going to be a great weekend of racing, and don't forget our selections have been going very, very well. Pretty well at Retama Park, but always very, very well in Louisiana Delta Downs.
All right, Chris, have a good rest of your Thursday afternoon. I'll see you this weekend at Los Alamitos.
All right, but you have a good night.
You too.
The Los Alamitos traditional pick six continues to rise. On July 2nd, a carryover of nearly $15,000 led to a total pool of over $150,000. On July 9th, a carryover of $15,000 led to a total pool of nearly $160,000. Plus, with no jackpot provisions, the Los Alamitos pick six can pay big time every time. And if we don't have a carryover going into Sunday night, we'll add 10 grand to the pool. That's right, the fast-rising Los Alamitos pick six is one of the country's best. California's Best will get together this Saturday and Sunday night for a great weekend of quarter-horse racing action at Los Alamitos. It's California Breeders' Champions Weekend. Big-time racing awaits, headed by the Governor's Cup Futurity on Saturday, featuring impressive trial winners, market analysts, and Wild Thing, and the Governor's Cup Derby on Sunday, led by Future Version, Required First, and others. Top stars like Cattail Cove, London Toby, and La Beverly Hills should also be in action. Catch all the action on California Breeders' Champions Weekend.
That's right. California Breeders' Champions Weekend here is upon us at Los Alamitos Race Course. And the guy that will be in the booth for one of those nights, we'll talk more about that. But for one of those nights will be Mike Wrona. Michael, good to see you. I know you're wearing your fresh Hawaiian. I dropped the ball. I should have thrown on my fresh Hawaiian today. And I like your background. Where are you at?
Well, first of all, let me correct you on the Hawaiian. Actually, this is a Kookaburra shirt. This shirt was purchased on my trip to Australia recently. It's emblazoned with my favorite bird, the kookaburra. So there you go, mate. But I thought it was suitably colourful to wear to Del Mar today. And I'm reporting to you from the press box at Del Mar Races, where we're halfway through a Thursday afternoon card.
That's the good thing about us racetrackers. Even our days off, we find our way to a local racetrack when we can. You can't keep us away. Can't keep us away. So good to see you out there.
I took the train down for the first time ever. So that was a new experience, a new twist on the Del Mar experience.
I've never taken it. I've always wanted to. Give us a brief review of it. How was it?
Can you hear the call to the post? They're moving out for the 5th.
I can hear it.
Yeah.
How was the train?
It was very good. Made very smooth. Impressed actually with the Amtrak service. Very crowded. Barely somewhere to sit, and it's a Thursday. But no, it was good. Jumped on at Anaheim and all the way down to Solano Beach in about an hour and a half or so. Yeah, so good stuff.
You picked it up right across from Angel Stadium, right?
Exactly. Yeah, okay. And we've had a good start to the day. I had the trifecta in race 1, and race 2 was won by a very good old mate of mine from the Northern California circuit, Bill McLean, who is a little down at the moment in the turmoil that's swirling around Golden Gate Field's future and therefore his future. So this would have been a great tonic for him, and we got to go to the winner's circle and up to the champagne room. So it's been a good afternoon so far.
I did catch that race. It was outer space for Bill McLean, and I believe 6-1 was the final price. A very good odds on that winner that got the win earlier tonight. So
yeah, it was nice just being here as a fan. I was I was more vocally enthused in the last furlong of that race than calling a grade one.
It's always fun when you have a few bucks and skin on the game as a fan, as a race fan, instead of being the race caller up in the booth. All right, let's talk about Saturday night. We previewed some of the stakes events that we're going to feature with the Cal-breds this weekend, both Saturday and Sunday night. Race number 4 is where you're going to take us. This is the closing leg of the early pick 4 sequence, and I like that you picked this leg because it's also a horse that I liked. So I'm curious to see your analysis here on Pragmatic.
Yeah, Pragmatic is a horse that we both have felt for a long time now has untold ability, has some difficulty getting out of the gate. The early stages of his races can be problematic for Pragmatic, but he can really get home solidly, and he comes off a freshening. His last run was when he finished 3rd, coming from last in a trial to the Winter Derby. And he had a poor start on that occasion from gate 6.
Yeah, here's the replay. Gate 6 will focus. This was the winter trials way back when in January 28th. But he had a horrible start, but he finished with big strides to finish 3rd behind Take a Swig of This, who was a repeat stakes winner. So, I mean, it's kind of his MO, Michael, that he tends to cause himself trouble at the gate. He's in gate 6 here. But he can finish. So he's got that ability.
Yes, Take a Swig of This won the trial, then went on to win the final. Normandy finished 2nd in this race, so it's a very, very strong exacta. You can see how far back Pragmatic is. He's still 2nd last, but he gets up for 3rd, which is very, very meritorious under the circumstances, although beaten a fair way. But still, the gallop out is fabulous. And look at him right up there. That's Take a Swig of This in the red silks, the horse that would go on and win the Winter Derby. So he's a horse that I've been sort of watching. I know he has carried your money on a few occasions. And he comes off this layoff, Jose, first time flipping halter and with a pair of bullet works. And it's just got me thinking that off this freshen up of 5 months or so with the new equipment, that he might have turned the corner and we might see a sharper Pragmatic in the early stages. Have a look at this July 1st gate work.
And I'm trying to look, and I kind of see, I'm going to try to do with my mouse pointer. I don't know if it comes out on the screen. I want to say I do see a flipping halter there, but let's run it. Let's run this workout here. And this is a fast workout, a fast break by his standards. You can see there was kind of equipment flipping. Now, I want to say there was a flipping halter used in this work.
Yes, Jose Flores presumably would have had the flipping halter in play for this work, given that it's going to be happening for the race on Saturday night. And it's very encouraging to see Pragmatic exit the gate so efficiently, so sharply. And he had a turn and work on the 10th of June, also in 12 seconds flat. It's a pretty good trick to put together back-to-back 12-second flat works, whether they're turn and works or gate works. So this horse looks to be absolutely flying. I love the flipping halter. I love what I've seen from him in the morning recently. And this is a great opportunity for him in an allowance race to get back to winning ways. He's 3-1 on Ed Burgart's morning line. The favourite is a very interesting horse who cost a touch under $200,000 as a yearling, El Gran Ferrari, but no recent morning activity at Los Alamitos. But you did point out that he was here earlier in the year.
Yeah, he posted a turn work back in April 13th, 12.4. So that was in April. He had not made a start up to that point. From April, he went out to race at he went out to Ruidoso and posted a workout on May 5th, and then made a start in May 28th and July 2nd. So he was based here, was at least training here in Los Al earlier in the season, Michael, but he hasn't posted a gate work since his last race.
Yeah. So some question marks against him. Obviously, he's very well thought of, carrying a hefty purchase price tag. And so, yeah, he's scary, but pragmatic, is well seasoned and just has this huge potential in my mind for upside compared to what we saw of him last season. I'm just excited to see if there's a new dimension to pragmatic, and if there is, then he's going to take a power beating.
If you were to tell me that pragmatic's going to break like he broke in the workout, I would bet him every single time, right? That's the key. If you're going to tell us that he's going to break like he did in that workout, I would take my chances with him in this spot. So I'm with you. I like your analysis here. I've liked this horse all along, and I like that you're backing him tonight because I think he's got the talent to win a race like this. It's all about the break for him.
Yeah. Do you remember when we were having a drink after the races at Burgart's on Sunday night? And I said to you that I don't think I could remember a weekend, both nights of the weekend in my time in the job, where Ed Allred had no starters.
Yeah.
And well, he's making up for it this weekend. Mm-hmm. Absolutely loaded, including 2 in this race. Dr. Allred and Scott Willoughby have the rail horse as well. Yeah. I love the name Pragmatic, by the way, out of the dam Realistically. Very clever, very good name. And they look set for a pretty big night. They've got half the field in one of the other stakes races.
Yeah, they got names like London Toby.
Yes.
You know, that very good stakes runner. Cactus Jack, Nevada Charles. They're loaded. Scott Willoughby and Dr. Ed Allred, they are attacking the entry box for this California Breeder Champions weekend.
For sure. And I'll be doing half of it. And Ed Burgard is coming in to handle the other half of the big California Champions weekend. He'll be in the booth on Sunday night.
All right, that's good to hear. Thank you to Ed Burgard for picking up the call here. Are you going to disappear to a private island as well on us, or what are you doing?
Mate, I have been a fan of Manchester United for more than 4 decades.
Okay.
And I've never seen them play. They're on a pre-season tour of the United States, almost within touching distance on Sunday night in Las Vegas. They're playing Borussia Dortmund, one of the top 2 teams in Germany. And it was too much of a temptation for me to not ask the question of management. And they have been so kind and generous in allowing me to go and see this event. Ed is willing to come in once again and fill in for me. And so it's going to be a real treat for the fans to hear him again. And it's going to be a treat for me to be able to see Manchester United. It's an exhibition game, but it's still going to be a thrill.
Well, maybe now I need to ask Burgard if he can call the races and then go down to the set and fill in for me, because I want to tag along to Vegas. Anytime we can find an excuse to go to Vegas, I'm sure Kathy, Mrs. Wrona, is going to enjoy that trip as well.
Oh, yes. She was very keen for the trip to happen, but she, of course, always has an ulterior motive. She loves the slots.
I'm a hard team as well. We can enjoy Vegas at the casino and on the soccer pitch. And have you ever visited that new stadium there, Allegiant?
Yes, as a matter of fact, on a previous trip to Vegas about 18 months ago, we did a guided tour of it. It was very new at the time. And very impressive, I must say.
All right, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll be watching the TV, see if I can spot you, and play a Where's Waldo type of game. Maybe I can see you in the broadcast and kind of spot you there and enjoy. So enjoy that trip. It should be fun to see him in person.
Yes, mate. It's a 6 p.m. kickoff, so it'll coincide with the nighttime racing. And no doubt I'll get talked into spending a few extra nights there.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us from Del Mar. Why don't you give a little bit of a shoulder tap to my man, Curtis Streets out there, the chart caller, our longtime chart caller here at Los Alamitos for many, many years. He's now chart caller in the daytime circuit. I'm sure he's right across from you, right?
I'd be happy to. Mate, he's 2 rooms down. There he is. I don't know if you can see him standing there.
Yeah, I can see him
with the white hat on, looking through the binoculars because they're behind the gate.
Sounds good.
Mate, there we are. They're about to move into the line. Something's just busted through the front of gate 6. So they're about to run the 5th, and I'll get myself downstairs. I had a couple of sips of champagne, nothing more than that after Bill McLean's win. But now that I've taken care of business with you, I can go and get a pint or two of beer into me.
Sounds good. Go get refreshed up. Enjoy your Thursday afternoon at Del Mar. Thank you for checking in with us, and I'll catch you this Saturday at Los Al.
Good on you, mate. Hooroo.
The Los Alamitos traditional pick six continues to rise. On July 2nd, a carryover of nearly $15,000 led to a total pool of over $150,000. On July 9th, a carryover of $15,000 led to a total pool of nearly $160,000. Plus, with no jackpot provisions, the Los Alamitos pick six can pay big time every time. And if we don't have a carryover going into Sunday night, we'll add 10 grand to the pool. That's right, the fast-rising Los Alamitos pick six is one of the country's best.
California's best will get together this Saturday and Sunday night for a great weekend of quarter-horse racing action at Los Alamitos. It's California-breds Champions Weekend. Big-time racing awaits, headed by the Governor's Cup Futurity on Saturday, featuring impressive trial winners, market analysts, and Wild Things, and the Governor's Cup Derby on Sunday, led by Future Version, Required First, and others. Top stars like Cattail Cove, London Toby, and La Beverly Hills should also be in action. Catch all the action on California-breds Champions Weekend.
Welcome back. Let's take a look and preview some of those stakes events for the California-breds Champion Weekend, specifically Saturday night card. Here it is. The stakes begin with race number 6 on Saturday night. So this does begin rolling pick 3. So pick 4 will begin in race number 7. But race number 6 is the California-breds Sprint Stakes, 350 yards for 3-year-olds and up. California-breds. You can see we have a field of 6 runners. Nevada Charles will have the outside post. 3-1 on the morning line, up the ladder. 2-1, Cactus Jack, 5-2. So Scott Willoughby, Ed Allred, they have 3 very good top betting choices on the outside part of the gate. And New and Better used to be trained by James Glenn Jr. and used to be owned by Dr. Ed Allred, bred by Dr. Ed Allred, now owned by Javier Chavez, Jose Antonio Flores. Training this one. Chris Mendez has them out. But let's take a look at one replay here for this event. We'll focus on the Independence Day handicap, which features both Up the Ladder and Nevada Charles, both exiting that very tight photo finish in that event. It was a very competitive group here in the Independence Day handicap back on July 1st. And we'll focus on Up the Ladder, who had the inside post. Cato Cove ends up winning this race in back-to-back seasons. But Up the Ladder from the rail, watch the start here. I thought he's going to break fairly well. Good path to run there. On the outside, that was Nevada Charles there on the outside. And you can see Up the Ladder keeps battling. A little bit of floating outwards. You can see kind of just wanting to just gradually drift out. Ends up just missing by a head in a very good effort. Tough to separate the top 5 there. They all ran very competitive efforts, but Up the Ladder, he's never been the strongest finisher, but he tends to break fairly well, like he did in this event. And now he gets off the rail more towards the outside. So I think Up the Ladder can really make a very good account of himself in race number 6. That'll be the California-breds Sprint Stakes, 350 yards for those 3-year-olds and up. So Up the Ladder will be 2-1 and comes out of a head defeat at 11-1. Jonathan Roman will have them out. Race number 7 will be the Jens List Junior Memorial California-breds Stakes. $25,000 is the purse. 400 yards is the distance. Bravery for Dr. Ed Allred and Scott Willoughby from the row. Up the Interest for Sergio Morfin and Eleazar Gonzalez. They were upset winners of the Derby Challenge 2 starts ago when winning at 23-1 over Price Fixer, who's also in this race. So Up the Interest 4-1. Chiquititas Cartel for Gerald Hartley, Sergio Morfin, Victor Salazar. Solid third place finish. The Poseidon, I think, is interesting in the spot. He was just a beaten favorite last time out, but he should have probably won that race. Tough trip. Marcelo has always touted ability, but he's kind of been green and difficult to ride at times. Not really that consistent. Space Flight, I've been a big fan of his just because he's always shown the potential to really, get up to that next level type of a greatest stakes type of runner. but he just doesn't always put it together at the gate. He packs a good straight, strong leg kick. He warrants some respect. And then Price Fixer, who he does tend to drift out at times, kind of being difficult to ride, but he more often than not puts in a very good effort. That was a tough beat to start to go to up the entrance, but he lost all chance. Just a horrible stumble in the Derby trial last time out. He gets the outside post, which should be a much better post for him. So he's one that warrants a good look here. But let's take a replay at the Poseidon, who I think is the attractive price on at 9-2 on the morning line. And the Poseidon was a beaten favorite in this allowance event. He was in gate number 2, and we'll let it run here. He broke a little bit slow from gate number 2. You can see his head is a little bit sideways. He settles, hesitates, breaks low, a little bit off balance. Right here is when he tries to get rolling, but you can see the rider's on his heels, just checking back because the path was going to disappear. But he gets his neck in there, and he's still intimidated, but he still puts up a pretty good battle in between horses. Given everything that happened in just that 300-yard affair, he probably should have won that race, given the slow start, given the steady back, the intimidation in between horses. Not really having the confidence to really level out and go all out. The rider never really had a chance to ask him for everything. So I think the Poseidon, he's sitting at 9-2 on the Moorland for this event, which is the Jens List Jr. Memorial Handicap. I think he's the attractive price at 9-2, but obviously you got the likes of Space Flights of Price Fixers who also look like top contenders in that 7th event. Race number 8, it is the Matron Stakes. This is for the fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Purse of $40,000. Grade 3 event. All prettied up, was super sharp, winning from the outside post last time out with a pretty good clock in at 15:49. 2 starts ago, she was part of that checker twice that was very, very live. All top 3 came back to win. Intuition kind of reminds me of Marcelo in a way where she's shown flashes of talent, but she's difficult in the gate. She can be rowdy. She can cause her own problems. She's racing with a flipping halter once again. So she's touted some ability, maybe a look to somewhere underneath in the prices. Now she goes up, has been kind of up and down as far as her form goes, but she packs a very good strong leg kick. At times she was the impressive winner of the La Pacifica last season. I picked her on top in the Los Alamitos Oaks. She just didn't have the trip and broke slow 7-1. But when everything goes right for her at the gate, she's right there in the mix of things. And she's 2-1 versus Lady Cartel 5-2, and Lady Cartel just beat She Goes Up last time out. So I'm interested to see what the odds reflect at post time. Up to good in gate 5, third behind All Prettied Up, and La Beverly Hills was the beaten favorite in that All Prettied Up allowance event. And she's switching barns back to Jesus Nunez. But let's take a look at the replay of the Abigail Kuananakoa, which is the race that both She Goes Up and Lady Cartel exit. And this was back on June 11th. Now, Lady Cartel ends up winning this race from gate number 7, but I want to focus on She Goes Up in gate number 5. So She Goes Up in gate 5. She was 5-1. And she's going to drift in just a tad early on. She gets out fairly well. That's a good break by her, Sanders, because she's never really a rocket ship out of the gate, but she drifts in just a bit here, kind of to the hip of the 3-horse. We kind of intimidated her a little bit, but I like the way she leveled out. She kept trying, and she was gaining ground there in the second half of that event, closing into a 9.51 final 8th. You can see Jonathan Roman was never really able to go to the stick or really go all out and ask her for a response, because she was trying to just find her path and find her rhythm. So I'm hoping that maybe a little bit of a wider path. She really gets down and stretches those strides and finishes with a good amount of run. So I like She Goes Up here to turn the tables on Lady Cartel in Saturday night's race number 8, the Grade 3 California Breeders Matron Stakes. There's 2 races left. You know what time it is. It is late daily double time. Race number 9 is the running of the Spencer Childers California Breeders Championship, a Grade 1 event, $100,000 in the purse for the 3-year-olds and up. and of course the distance of 400 yards. Cattail Cove repeated in back-to-back years in the Independence Day handicap last time out. We saw that replay earlier on. It was a blanket finish, but he prevailed at nearly 5-1. Salazar keeps the man for Juan Alaman. He's a classy runner, earner of over $636,000 in the bank. Eye in the Sky to me is the interesting long shot in this spot. That's the horse that I like here at this price of 10-1. He was a beaten favorite at even money, at 65 last time out. It was only a field of 5, but I thought there was more to kind of read into that race because it was his first start since October. So it was a lengthy layoff and his first start as a 4-year-old. So we'll talk more about Eye in the Sky in a moment. Always also returning off a layoff since March. Was beaten by Cattail Cove last time out, but defeated Cattail Cove 2 starts ago. So there's a little bit of a back and forth form on Always. Strong Finest Corona was backed as a betting favorite and prevailed with a sharp clocking of 15:38. There was a little bit of a tailwind, but that was a sharp clocking for Straw Finest Corona. Just being a friend, once upon a time, I believe in his 2-year-old season, he was either second or third in the Los Alamitos Futurity. So he's banked over $423,000. He's been kind of knocking on the door in some of these stakes events. Some of his better efforts, although, have been at shorter distances. So he's going to have to step it up. Stuck in Probate, narrowly missed to Cattail Cove. He's another runner that is not very quick out of the gate, but he can finish strong. He should be closing in the final strides. London Toby, that ultra talented at times, London Toby. He's a lightly raced 5-year-old, but he's 4-4-11. And when he's right, when he's on his A game, he's right there at the top of the list as kind of in conversation with those runners that are competing for vessels maturities, winter championships, champion of champions. At his best, he can put up those clockings that warrant him to be mentioned in those grade 1 type of events. So the class drop here, as far as the vessel maturity, there's an easier field. You don't have to face and press him, scoops honesty and shotgun, but you have to be much more professional out of the gate, which he hasn't been as consistent this year as he was towards the end of 2022. So he's definitely a contender. And always a chance, that very well-bred runner, bred by Dr. Red Allred, owned by Junior's Quarter Horses. They paid $127,000 for him. Favorite Cartel out of Eland's Last. I mean, he was ultra professional, winning from that outside post last time out. He was all out, but he took care of business in 15:45 and by a neck. He's a 3-year-old facing much more experienced older runners in this spot, but he's on the improve. He's bred to be good. He's showing signs that he's getting better, and he's 4-1 for Sharp Barn and Monte Rosa and Armando Cervantes. But let's take a look at a replay here, and maybe we'll focus on the price here that I like, which is Eye on the Sky. July 1st is the replay. Eye in the Sky, Jose Flores, Steve Burns, Jose Francisco Garcia, and Juan Moya part ownership here. And Eye in the Sky did go off favorite, and he had the inside post here. And it was only field of 5. You can see he's getting a little bit nervous in the gate. When the gate's open,
racing,
he breaks out fairly well.
Cactus Jack post. Begins well the same.
And he begins to engage here with the 2, Cactus Jack, but he's never truly able to put his neck in front. And Cactus Jack just maintained that nose in front and outdueled Eye in the Sky here. And I think it was a matter of post positions. Like, it can get very intimidating for horses to not want to pass when they're drawn on the inside of runners. And I think that was the case for Eye in the Sky. Yeah, Cactus Jack was very, very game. But I think if the placings were reversed, and if Cactus Jack had the inside, he had the neck in front, and Eye in the Sky was kind of pressing him, I think Eye in the Sky would have found a little bit more to go by. So I am attracted to the morning line price of Eye in the Sky. Obviously, London Toby, Stuck in Probate, and Always a Chance will be one of the main contenders in this spot. But I think the price, to me, is Eye in the Sky. I think he can find some of that brilliance he showed as an early 2-year-old where he can really flash some of that promise. And I think the morning line price is right on Eye in the Sky in the Spencer Childers California Breeders' Championship, a grade 1 in race number 9. Race number 10, the final race on Saturday night It's going to be the Governor's Cup Futurity, Grade 2, $255,000 in the purse. Now, 10 fastest qualifiers, right? Qualified, but 10 return, only 7 return. So 3 are out of this final. 7 return. You can see Wild Thing for Cesar de Alba is listed as a 7-5 morning line favorite in this spot. Hubba Hubba, Heed, Mass Mandate, who is the one that I like on top. We'll talk more about him. Optical Illusion. He's been a little bit green in a couple of starts, but he's starting to put it all together for Paul Jones. He's interesting. Delightful Again draws gate number 2, just finished behind Optical Illusion. And you see that for owner and breeder Mike Castleman and trainer Mike Castleman. So Mike Castleman is all over the imprint here of You See That. This is by separate interest out of Mindy's Favorite. Mindy's Favorite has been a productive broodmare for Mike Castleman. Jose Nicasio was aboard last time out, and they got the job done here. So Professor G was kind enough to catch up with some of our connections here and talk to them with their reaction back on trials night. So why don't we start with the morning line favorite? Wild Thing here prevailed in his trial back on July 8th and posted a very good time of 1785 for Cesar de Alba and Diego Herrera. Here's Cesar de Alba and his assistants talking about Wild Thing after that trial win.
Sarsaparilla around town required dash. Wild Thing in front. Wild Thing wins from Sarsaparilla.
3 more, right?
3 more trials?
Yeah, 3 more trials. We gotta wait.
What do you think's gonna happen, Nicholas?
You think we're gonna get in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, are you gonna do 3 trials with her?
No, we're done. We just gotta wait for the 3 more races to see if they run faster or slower. Okay. That looked really nice. He ran a really good race. First time out, he ran second. But I think he was a little green, and he's starting to get better. And I think as the year goes on, I think he's only gonna improve.
And you're accompanied here by a little bit of the family here.
Yeah.
You got Kevin and Nicholas, both enjoying the nice winner circle photo.
Yeah, it's been a long day. We've been here all day. We ran in thoroughbred meet. Now we're here. We got the win, so we're happy. Hopefully we get in the final.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, that was fun to see Kevin and Nicholas de Alba running the show there. As far as kind of talking about his dad after the Wild Thing ended up winning that event. That trial. So good to see the boys out at Los Alamitos, and Wild Thing ended up posting, which is now because of the defections, which ends up being the fastest qualifying time. Wild Thing in 1785, the original fastest qualifier was Mark Canales, who is not in this final. So Wild Thing, now with that time, he assumes the role of the fastest qualifier to this final. Like you mentioned, like Cesar was talking there with Professor G, that he's improving race by race, and you can see it in the running lines. He draws the outside post, which should be, shouldn't be a problem based on what we've seen from him. So he's definitely the more I feared, and the horse to beat off of what he's done up to this point. Up next, let's see You See That. We were talking about You See That, Mike Castleman, owner, trainer, breeder of this 3-year-old colt. And here's Professor G talking to Mike Castleman after that win.
See that, a horse that you not only do you train, you also own. So a little extra special, a little bit more fun. You have a horse heading into the Governor's Cup Futurity.
Yeah, we're excited about that. All that happens because of Dr. Burns and Joe. They do everything we have to do with breeding and whatnot. And Steve I just say, take it, Steve, and he takes it. And anyway, we've had good luck with that mare, and we're happy with this colt.
This horse has also done well even prior to this race, right?
Yeah, he ran third his first out with one of Paul's that was a really nice baby, and then come back and broke his maiden in fairly good fashion, and so we hadn't gated him for 5 weeks, so he needed an out, and so we're just kind of waiting for this. So he's not in the bigger races, but he'll be in this in the Pacific Coast.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Well, there it is. Big smiles for Mike Castleman, and why not? He gives a big shout out to Joe and Steve Burns. Their breeding operation, they take care of the babies, and Mike Castleman takes care of the training, and This one results a very good win there to earn a spot into this trials. Into the final of the Governor's Cup Futurity. So he's listed at 9-2 on the board. On the morning line by Ed Burgard. Draws the inside post. Has never had the inside post, but has had gates 2, 5, and 4. So has been drawn close to the route before. So Jose Nicasio got to know him last time out in that event. Now the horse that I like in here is going to be Mass Mandate. I like the 9-2 morning line. I was very high on him on his debut, and he prevailed very impressively at nearly 3-1. I've been a fan of both Quirky as a race mare when she was racing, but also as a producer. I've been a fan of whatever she's dropped. She's produced some very nice winners. This one is by Favorite Cartel. These connections paid $80,000 for this one at the Los Angeles Equine Sale of 2022. He's a gelding. Chris Mendez has been aboard all 3 times. But not only was I impressed with his debut, even though his debut wasn't a flashy clocking, a little bit of a headwind, 1582. I thought that he showed the ability to be a horse that could keep improving race by race. And let's take a look back on July 8th, and we'll look at that replay again. That was won by UC. That here it is. Here's the replay back on July 8th. This was the 8th, the 5th division, race number 8 in that 8 race program. So last trial of the night. Mass Mandate was the inside runner. You see that the eventual winner was the 5 horse. But let's focus on the inside Mass Mandate.
2-1 number 1.
And
Mass
this is where
Mandate, 5-2 number.
He kind of hesitated when the gates open. You can see that. I'll rewind it so we can catch it again. Watch how as soon as the gates popped, he kind of leans back just a tad, hesitates, and breaks slowly from that inside post. Right there, his head moved up, a little bit of a hop, break slowly, and it's always tough to make up ground along the inside. Cruz Mendez is really going to work on him, kind of asking him for a response, and he responds fairly well. All things considered, he only gets beat about 3/4 of a length, and not only did the start kind of probably cost him his best chance of a win, but also that inside post could be tricky, especially when you don't break all that well, and you have all these horses on the outside of you, all these bodies kind of intimidating you. So I thought it was a better than the 3rd. I still think there's upside. That effort really didn't shy away from me that I wanted to back him. Actually, I might have mentioned on the FanDuel set that evening that even after that effort, I was willing to back him right spot. So I like where he's drawn in gate number 4. Optical Illusion is a runner that doesn't always break best. He does begin to kind of, he is a little bit green as far as when he's moving in and out. So that is a concern. But Give Heed to 5 is not really a fast breaker either. So I think Mass Mandate is drawn fairly well here in gate number 4. He should have a shot to get a clean break and work out his own trip. And I like the morning night price of 9-2. So that's a look and a little bit of a preview of what's to come, and not only this Saturday at Los Alamitos, but also this weekend. We're going to have the California Breeders' Champions weekend. So we have the Futurity ending the card on Saturday night, and we'll have the Derby highlighting the Sunday night program. Once again, thank you to Christopher Wade for joining us. Mike Wrona, also, like he mentioned, he's going to be calling Saturday. Ed Burgard will be coming in to call Sunday races, as Michael will be out enjoying a day out on the town in Las Vegas, and hopefully he gets a good result out of his team out there. And thank you to Professor G for catching up with those sound bites with La Familia de Alba and also Mike Castleman. That's going to wrap it up for me. Again, we'll be following the post times, following the daytime thoroughbred season. So we'll be following Del Mar after they conclude the racing down in San Diego. So expect a little bit later post times here at Los Alamitos. Have a good rest of your, it's a Thursday, so have a good rest of your Thursday afternoon and whatever day you're watching. Hope you join us this weekend here at Los Alamitos.
California's best will get together this Saturday and Sunday night for a great weekend of quarter horse racing action at Los Alamitos. It's California Breeders' Champions Weekend. Big-time racing awaits, headed by the Governor's Cup Futurity on Saturday, featuring impressive trial winners, market analysts, and Wild Thing, and the Governor's Cup Derby on Sunday, led by Future Version, Required First, and others. Top stars like Cattail Cove, London Toby, and La Beverly Hills should also be in action. Catch all the action on California Breeders' Champions Weekend.